up, guys? Welcome back to another great episode of Redirect. You already know who this is. Your boy with the host with the most, K-Ron. You already know.
That's how you know he's not, because he messed up. Anyways,
yes. Let me finish. Then we got Whack Vaughn over here. You know, he ain't about nothing anyway. He is 0.01% of the podcast. He is my bag boy.
Introduce yourself, bag boy. I'm going to introduce the podcast because that's, again, not the instructions you were given, but you just go ahead and do your own thing. Welcome to Redirect, guys, the podcast where we redirect your attention away from your daily stressors, things that you can't control, and the drama in your life. We hope to provide you with some redirection and new perspectives, some laughs, and just a good time. So welcome back. We hope this becomes your favorite podcast. Again, I am Devon, most of the podcast. I'm not going to go into percentages because, you know, I don't feel like it. But
he can't do math.
I ain't going to have to do it. Today, for this episode, I'm 50%. Because we have a guest. Oh. Our guest here is Raven Jackson. She is 49% today, and Karon's 1%. I ain't gonna have to do it.
That sounds like math to me.
Right, and I did it perfectly, right?
Right. I mean, hey.
So, Raven, thank you for being with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Whose side are you on?
Well, like you said, I'm Raven. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm currently a grad student at ODU, and I'm getting my clinical mental health counseling degree. And I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Did I already say that?
Yep.
I did. So they know twice. It's okay. So
it's a Florida thing.
Glad to be here.
Cool. You proud of that, Florida? I'll tell you that.
I know. I have to. I mean, hey, I'm different. You know, y'all from Virginia, plain old Virginia, and I'm from Florida. Actually, Florida kind of crazy too. So
it's not kind of. It's very.
Yeah. We're not gonna get into that.
Fighting alligators and stuff.
You know she got a pet alligator in that apartment right now. They ain't no dog.
Anyways, let's do our little check-in, y'all. How have y'all been? Well, I've seen him last week. We talked, briefly the other day, but how's things going?
Who you asking first? It's two people.
Ladies first. How you been doing, Raven?
I think I've been pretty good. I mean, this was like the second week of school and also working kind of full time. So it's been overwhelming. Motivation's low because everything's through Zoom. But I mean, overall, just been pretty content. Just trying to keep myself grounded.
Okay. What's one thing that you're grateful for from today or throughout the week?
Oh, wow. I guess I'm just really grateful for this opportunity. I know that's like really cliche, but like doing something like this is like pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So, being able to, push myself is always, I'm grateful for that,
Well, you're changing lives, Ron. You're changing lives.
Well, I do that already for a living.
Okay. I do. How have you been?
Do every day talking to different clients. That's hard.
Monday through Friday, not Saturday or Sunday. I'll tell you that right now. I take my time off.
Yeah,
sure. Self-care is the best care, Raven. This makes you know it. But me,
I know what's the backstory about.
They might hear a little bit about that. I've been doing pretty good, just chilling throughout the week. Just out here, making moves, working towards my licensure as a licensed professional counselor. So that's really all my goal is for the next 2-3 years. So I'm gonna say that every time I come up here.
That sounds depressing.
Well, what?
Right, he gonna say it every podcast as an LPC.
Well, it's gonna be amazing once I finally change it up and say, you know what? I don't need this no more. I got my license.
You will get the same check-in for the next 3 years.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to throw a party when you get your LPC. That's huge.
You said you want to throw a party for me?
I said we're gonna have to throw a party for you.
Okay, I heard that here first. Raven Jackson. She will throw me a Florida style party. I can't wait. It's gonna be alligators from the ceiling and whatnot. I can't wait.
Boy, how about that?
Oh, what? Snakes coming out of the toilet. But I can't wait.
What's something that you have been grateful for?
I am very grateful for the great people over there at Apple Support. Because as y'all can see, we finally got the microphone back working.
Right.
I was struggling with this laptop of mine. I was contemplating on spending money I don't have, but they was able to help me out, get everything situated. So now we're back up and running officially. Yeah.
Okay. The microphone sounds real crisp, so
for that much money we spend for it.
Right. Oof.
We got cool too. This ain't even all of our inventory. We got 2 of these things.
We went to like 3 different.
Wow.
So what about you?
I'll end it. The little check-in. This week was stressful. It's like Monday through Friday.
You were stressed last week, won't you?
Yes, because of work.
He has a stressful job.
I do.
That would make sense.
So I caught up on like some documentation, and just kind of like when I came home, I decompressed and spent some time with family and friends. And this weekend, I felt a whole lot better.
You ain't spend no time with me. What friends
I
you got?
hung out with you on Friday.
That don't count.
Look at you.
Oh yeah, we did talk on Friday. That was like an hour and a half, and who knows how long y'all had before then. So
anyways,
that good old quality time.
So since then I've been good. I haven't had any stress headaches yesterday, today, and I'm chilling. And the thing that I'm grateful for is I'm gonna go with what Raven said. This opportunity right here. You guys will get to learn more about Raven as the episode goes on, but she's very intelligent. She's also in the mental health field. And we have been listening to the people that have been providing us with critiques. We brought a female perspective.
That's really the only biggest critique.
That's the only thing. They're like,
we told y'all from the beginning. Welcome to Redirect. No, this is Devon and Karion. We are two young black men.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's crazy because people are saying that, but for me, I was like, when I was going to write a review, I was going to respond and say, like, I love y'all coming together as men and having opinions and not talking over each other or like just, you know, being able to have an open ear for each other. That was my favorite part. But I could see for conversations like this, you know, having a woman's perspective is really important.
But you know, it's hard out here in the streets trying to find a female to come on the podcast.
Yeah, no COVID and everything. Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad you're here because you know you and I have conversations that are always good. She's open-minded, y'all. And I think you guys are going to get a lot from her. So thank you for being here.
Yes,
I'm also grateful for my friend.
Don't touch me.
Right here. My friend Karan. I'm about to make him real comfortable, y'all. Karan,
really?
You know what? Yes. You know what, Karan? I love you a lot, bro. You've been my good friend for like, 7 years? We started this podcast together. Look.
Love affirmation. Look, he's uncomfortable.
I take his mind away. I'm trying to do math. Hold on.
I was trying to think, when did we start working at JC Penney?
Say I love you back.
Can I not do the math first? I'm trying to figure out how long it's actually been because I don't want him up here lying to the people. I'm trying to think, when did I start working at JC Penney?
Y'all see what this look like?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about this later. This is a perfect bridge.
I say this.
You just rejected him.
Right?
First of all.
Perfect bridge to the conversation.
Oh, my God.
You are in training. I am past my training. You need to.
Anyways, as Raven said, guys, the topic for today is rejection. Nah, what? I want everybody here.
All right, say it again.
They listen to the podcast, they can hear it.
Nah.
I spoke it right into the mic.
Say it again. Say it again for one time. Can anybody hear you?
It again.
Anyways, topic is rejection, guys. As you just saw, my expression for my friend of love and care, support.
He only did it for the podcast.
Nah, I told you that before.
I felt that. No, I felt like that was really genuine.
You didn't tell me that on my birthday.
For me, it's even more important that he did it on the call, so everybody can know his love for you and his appreciation.
What do you do? Shoot me down?
He ain't do that for my birthday.
Millions of people.
He ain't do that for my birthday.
In front of millions of people.
He ain't do that for my birthday. You know, millions of people. It's like 14 viewers. What you mean?
I'm speaking into it. We're manifesting, okay? Look, millions one day. Watch.
One day, but as in today.
So let me ask y'all this. Have y'all heard of the story? I think it was last week or the week before. There was a woman in Harlem. She was in like a convenience store or some kind of store. There were 3 men. I don't know if one of them or all of them was like making comments towards her, trying to talk to her or whatever. She declined their advances and they attacked her. That's one instance, right? We have that. Fortunately, the people in Harlem came together. They did a rally, advocated for her, which, you know, was great. We need more stuff like that. Then last week, we have another story. Chad Wheeler, football player on the Seahawks. He allegedly, I'm going to say, because everybody gets their day in court, allegedly beat and choked his girlfriend or partner. I don't know what they were to each other. He thought she was dead. This is what the story says. Like, he thought she was dead. He proceeds to have like a smoothie or some kind of meal next to her, what he thought was her lifeless body. She's not dead.
Heartless.
Right? Crazy, right? And she's in a hospital. I don't know if he's been cut by the team or whatever, but it's just been press around that. I hate hearing stories like this. Like, this goes with rejection, y'all, but I just kind of want to take a moment to kind of talk about this. Mm-hmm. It's sad
that we continue to have these stories and that women continue to have to feel threatened and afraid around it. Like, you and I have talked about this, Raven. I don't know if it was for this podcast or before, but I've talked to like other females. And one of the things I hear a lot is you all have to be mindful of how you turn down a man's advances because you don't know how he'll react.
Right.
Can you shed some light on that? Being that you're the only female here.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, it's kind of scary. Like, even when I'm walking my dog, like, you know, you have to be mindful of, like, if a guy were to come up to you and start talking to you, just even talking to you in general, or having to look over my shoulder when walking, you know, outside, you know, it's like you have to be very mindful of, like, how you sound, how you put down. Like, sometimes you even have to lie. For me, I don't like lying personally, but saying that I have a boyfriend is safer than saying like no, just straight up no, because if you have a boyfriend, hopefully he will respect me in my relationship, and probably that respect is going to be greater than if I were to just say no to him, which obviously is just a straight up rejection, like, you know. So me personally, I haven't had a really violent situation or like the young woman in Harlem, but I mean, I'm not negating that can't happen to me, you know. And a lot of women, for example, like a guy could be like, hey, can I have your number? And then even if you say no, he was like, fine, what's your ugly behind anyways? Like, stuff like that happens. Just like, you just thought I was cute and then now you think I'm ugly because I rejected you. Huh?
And that's a tame version of what I've heard that some men say to women here.
Yeah. And we shouldn't be used to it, but that's just the reality that we live in. So yeah. It's pretty discouraging and, you know, scary, honestly.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, here, you know, we're not a company, but at Rita Red, we don't. I was about to say here at Rita Red, we have 500 Fortune.
Why ain't we?
We could be, but we don't condone that. I mean, Karan and I both have sisters. We have mothers. Yeah. You know, I'm in a relationship. Karan out here running the street, so we both are interacting with women, and it's just don't laugh at me. It's just sad that, not to laugh at the situation, but it's just sad that y'all have to experience that. Like, when somebody says no, you should just take it as that and go on with your merry business.
Right. I think that no is because their self is attached to that rejection. So like, you know, they might feel a sense of like, well, I'm not worthy enough for that girl, or she thinks she's better than me. Like maybe like a power struggle. Like there could be a lot of things that are like attached to the anger or the aggravation that they get from getting a no from a woman, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can dissect that. I feel like there's a lot of different points on why men actually do get mad, you know, when a woman says no, because it could just be simply like, I'm just not interested. Like for me, I was just telling you, like, I'm being intentionally single right now. It has nothing to do with who you are as a man. I'm just not interested in talking to you. Like, so.
Yeah, I'm rejecting everybody.
You said I'm out here texting everybody?
I said rejecting everybody.
I'm not I mean, a lot of people try to talk to me like that, but I'm just saying, like, you know, that's just where I'm at right now. And people should respect that. Yeah. You know, I'm not over here saying, no, you're ugly, you're this, and that. I'm just saying, no, I'm just not interested. I don't say it in a mean way. I'm just very assertive about what I want and what I don't want.
And these stories are trash men, all right? Because I've never responded or reacted that way when someone's turned me down. So it's not every man out here, right?
No,
but there are a lot of men that are attached to their ego.
Insecure.
Yeah, and insecure. So when a woman or anybody that they're trying to talk to, because it's not just men-female relationships, I would imagine it's probably everything, because men, you know, we've had this conversation before, right? People who tend to have a position of power seem to have more fragile egos. So I've noticed that, you know, with us living in a patriarchal society.
I was about to say, sounds like patriarchy to me.
Right. It always goes back to that, right?
It always goes back to that.
When we have those instances, it's like, oh, it's an attack on me. Why don't you want me? You know, like, she just don't.
Yeah, and if anything, it's so much more attractive if someone were to ask for my number and they're like, and I say no, thank you, I'm okay. And they're just like, okay, well, I hope you have a good day. And, you know, and that happens. I'm not saying that doesn't happen either. There are men who do that. Like, hopefully, you know, the men I'm sitting in front of right now, but like, you know, just that's even more attractive when someone's just are able to accept that and just like, okay, well, I hope you have a good day, and not taking it personal. It just shows that they're not sitting in their ego, you know?
Yeah.
It sounds like it was raised healthily. Well, I can't even speak right. Healthy. Shut up.
I didn't say nothing.
You laughed at me. I don't like to be laughed at. Not today.
Hey, I didn't know
Karan completely off his game by telling him that he is not the same.
This ain't my episode.
Still recovering.
He ain't gonna recover. But so to talk about rejection in the sphere of relationships, right? So we're talking about how people, when they're approaching someone trying to like get a phone number or whatever, and then they're rejected, they respond negatively. But let's kind of talk about it in a way of people being afraid to approach people or, you know, take things to the next level because of rejection. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Guess.
You can have to say something now.
I just said yes.
I was about to say, I want to hear what Karan got to say if he got something.
Nah, you first.
I mean, so you're saying like if just why people are just afraid to be rejected in general?
Yeah, in relationships.
Yeah. So I mean, when I think of that, I think there's a lot of examples, and I'll go ahead and be vulnerable. You know, we're just talking about the dating apps, you know, a day or so ago. And so, you know, as a woman, you know, I think, I'm not going to speak for all women, but we kind of want to be courted, or, you know, we want a guy to ask for our number. But in some cases, like, you end up just taking initiative and like, okay, can I have your number? I'm ready to get off the app or whatever like that. And then, you know, it's just, I think a part of the rejection that I'm kind of afraid of is more deep, like, not really like if they said no to saying yes to, like, if they said that they didn't want my number, I'm like, okay. But I think the rejection comes from like later on when they actually get to know me. You know, I'm afraid of them rejecting my personhood, my personality, like who I am, rather than like, I don't really know this person in the beginning.
Yeah.
Rather than like later on, once they get to know me, they're like, I kind of don't like you. And that's what I'm afraid of. And I think that just goes to show that yourself is connected to rejection. You know, like, I'm kind of scared. Like, if you reject me, if you're rejecting my proceedings, and you're rejecting me. I don't know if that makes sense. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that goes back to what we said before about the men. Like, one says, nah, I'm all right. He's like, you're rejecting every part of me. At least it seems that way. And maybe it goes back to like a part earlier in that person's life where they were rejected by like maybe parents or whoever cared.
Relationships.
So then they become triggered and react aggressively or whatever.
Yeah, trigger. I think that's what it triggers is a big thing too when it comes to rejection. Like, because I mean, we can maybe be rejected. Rejection can be reacted differently in certain aspects of your life. So if I'm rejected in my place of work, it might not hurt me as much. I'm like, all right, well, it's fine. Or when I'm in an interview and I don't get the job, it's fine. Myself isn't connected to that, but I might be triggered in relationships. Like, it might hurt me if my mom were to say something to me rather than some rando on the street, you know? Yeah.
With the heat. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, it's definitely sectioned out. You know, I feel like it matters.
What's that? I was going to attempt to say that word compartmentalized. I felt like I was going to butcher it, but it kind of seems like rejection can be compartmentalized, like different areas of your life, like you said, like relationships, work, maybe friendships. Well, that's a relationship, but you know what I mean, like just different areas.
Yeah. I think it's worth digging deep within yourself and like reflecting on like what in my life have I been rejected in? Like rejected? Where in my life have I been rejected? And just see the patterns of it. Like, when have I felt the most rejected in my life? Yeah. You know, that can give you some insight too.
A whole lot. So why do y'all think, well, I mean, I think we kind of know, but I wanted to explore, because you talked about rejection like once a relationship has already been established, and not necessarily a romantic relationship, but you guys have met in some kind of way.
The building phase, so getting to know somebody.
What about those that are afraid of even like initiating the building phase because they're afraid of rejection? Like, you know, people like, they're out of my league, or what if they say no? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Probably a little bit of low self-esteem, low confidence. Maybe didn't have experience in doing so. Maybe be afraid of being vulnerable and opening up and expressing themselves. Because once you open up and express yourself, you expect them to kind of go, right. And if they don't, then the world comes shattering down.
Yeah.
And also I realized a lot of people don't understand that no is also an answer. Absolutely. When you go to make these advances, we go in the mindset of they're going to say yes. It's a 50-50 split. They could say yes and they could say no. And people are usually never for the no answer.
Yeah.
So when they get hit with that no, now they're trying to figure out and process, how do I respond to this? No, I don't know how to respond to this. So I'm just going to call you ugly. I didn't want you in the first place. Like you said, why do you try to talk to them in the first place if you didn't want them?
Now I'm going to tear you down and belittle you to make you feel how I feel.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it called? Displacement or projection? Yeah, it's projection.
You made me feel like this, and now I'm going to try to make you feel like that. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, people do it all the time.
Absolutely. So feelings are scary for a lot of people, right? Rejection, anxiety, feelings and emotions, anxiety,
feelings in general.
Yeah, in general, right? And rejection is included in all of that. So it often feels like it can be world ending, right? But it's not. So I think into this broad conversation of rejection, another component is understanding that it's not the end of the world.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's
like what's the worst? When I ask myself, like, what's the worst that could happen? This person says no. Okay. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm thinking in the mindset of dating, but even when you're interviewing for a job or like, I don't know, what are some other examples that people experience rejection? Do y'all know? Like job interviews. I know that's a big thing.
Yeah. I think the biggest ones are relationships and jobs. Because I wanted to say family, but I'm like, that's relationships too.
Yeah.
I forget. I'm blanking. Yeah. You threw me off this episode, Devon. I was ready to go.
Well.
Yeah, I think jobs and relationships is a really big thing, but it's like, what's the worst that can happen? Of course, with the privilege of saying what's the worst that can happen with a job interview? But sometimes your whole livelihood is based off of that one job, because you could be having family to take care of, or this is something you need to pay your bills and stuff like that. So I can understand how but is that really, that's a form of rejection that could really hurt. So, but assuming that you're not having that struggle, that what's the worst that could happen? You just get a no.
Yeah. Or I thought of this rejection from society.
Yeah.
Like those that don't
not fit it in.
Yeah, that don't fit into mainstream how we're socialized to think we're supposed to be.
Rejected by your peers.
Rejected by peers, family.
I empathize the most with those people, like with people who don't fit in to the scope of what a man is supposed to be, a woman is supposed to be, or how you're supposed to dress, I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
But then it's like you kind of taking it a step further. You kind of feel like you like that because they're being authentic. They're, even despite society rejecting them, they're still choosing to be their most authentic self. The
best type of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're considered weird. Yeah. They're considered weird.
Recently, I had somebody call me weird because I was, I guess, different. But they said one thing that they liked about me, regardless of what they thought of me, I was still comfortable with who I was.
Yeah.
I don't care about you thinking weird all day. I'm still going to go live my life.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen? You call me weird. It doesn't affect my life. My bills are still going to get paid. The world's not ending. Life continues on. So
I bet a lot of people wish they could have that mentality you're having. Because I know if I was called weird on certain things, there's certain aspects I'm like, okay, I'll be weird about that. But sometimes you don't want to be weird. Sometimes you want people to understand you or accept you, and not really reject your idea.
You gotta accept yourself first for other people to accept you.
You said what?
You gotta accept yourself first for other people to accept you.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
Well, I want to bring up this point because we've talked about how people politely reject, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also extreme forms of rejection. So, I brought up being rejected from society. Mm-hmm. That's not a minor rejection, or being rejected from your family. That can lead to suicide, and trauma in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. So who wants to share their perspective on that? Because, it's one thing to be like, I'm going to talk to this person that I'm interested in because I find them physically attractive. and they say no, like, no, I got a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend, and you keep it pushing. But it's another thing to be like, I want my parents to love me, and they're rejecting me because maybe I am a different sexual orientation, or I got a profession that they don't respect, things like that.
I think one example that comes to mind, and it might be sticky. I mean, it's not like that bad, but I think the biggest example that comes to mind is that, people who are homosexual or lesbians or anything that is not heterosexual, and them being actually Christian, like they still follow the faith of being a Christian, but everyone around them, their peers, kind of rejects that orientation. They could love them, they could still show love to them, but it's just like at the end of the day, like their people around them are saying like this isn't right, even though they believe in the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's the first example that came to my mind, and I have so much empathy for that, because just like I can only imagine how that feels. Like you're still trying to be true to yourself and your faith, but then there's a whole group of people around you who don't believe that's right.
Uh-huh.
That's what I think about.
I'll be forgetting questions, but don't laugh at me. I am off today. Just kind of piggyback off what she said, forms of rejection like that can be really hurtful towards that person, because it start building like they hard to like trust people, hard to build relationships, hard to I was gonna say trust again. Dang. Jeez, I'm blanking out. We might start recording on Saturdays, because Sundays is not my day.
You need some help.
Yes.
No, but I understand what you're saying. Like just trying to like, they're trying to open themselves up to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it builds hardships for them. And that hardships tend to, linger on throughout life, because they don't know how to deal with it. Because the people they want love from, they're not getting it from, because they're being rejected that love. So they might start doing other things to receive that love. Granted, sometimes I think, if those people are rejecting you, not giving you the love that you need to care for you, you might have to cut them off and go somewhere there, find your community of the people that you fit in with, that will accept you and give you that love that you need.
That's not easy.
It's not always easy, because it's hard to cut off family and parents and things like that, because
it's a whole process, and there's gonna be a time where you're gonna be isolated for a while before you find that community.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of people don't really understand.
Yeah.
Everything's easier said than done.
And what if you're 6? Like you can't just like, all right, I'm heading out. I'm gonna go find my tribe. Like,
Said tribe.
Yeah, that's what people call it now.
No, but yeah, I think tribe is a great word for that. I don't know.
Hunters and gatherers.
That's what it is, right? The people that you're with that are protecting you, and you're protecting them. A 6-year-old can't necessarily like
do that.
Yeah, do that. And I think that's the hardest thing about this part of talking about rejection, is those people that can't they can't do anything to fix it. In a sense, like I talked about how emotions are hard. Like young kids and young people in general don't have great emotional intelligence in this country. And it's hard for us to process our emotions. So I feel for kids. I work with kids, and I feel for those that feel rejected from parents, from society, from whoever, and don't have any outlets, and feel like there's no help, because they don't know who their tribe is. Yeah. They're still trying to find themselves out. So many questions. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I have largely I know who I am, but we change all the time.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to teenagers and kids, if they do have the privilege to, be in contact with people like Devon or Karion and stuff like that, and have therapy, then they can develop coping skills on how to, deal with their family household. But sometimes people don't, the reality of things makes me upset. But, some people don't have the opportunity to have those resources and to learn those skills. So they end up coming up with defense mechanisms and just bad habits that just manifests, and it's hard. Yeah,
it is hard.
About that, yeah.
But I think that's we made an important point. Rejection isn't just small stuff like dating. It can be hard, it can be intense, and it can be soul crushing.
Yeah.
You brought this up, Raven, and there's a term, you brought it up earlier. You said something along the lines of it's not all that bad, you know. There's a term for that, and I hope I don't butcher this. Sometimes I don't be talking right. De-Catastrophizing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the process of like taking something that you fear and analyzing it in the way so that, for example, job interview, like you may be stressed out, like this isn't gonna go right, like I don't even want to go because I'm afraid of not getting a job. When you go through the process of de-catastrophizing, you think about the worst case scenario and you think about best case scenario, and then you think about the likelihood of both of those things occurring, and then you think about the results of worst case scenario and best case scenario. And in a lot of cases, it's like the results of the outcome of the worst case scenario isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, you know, and the situations when it's minor stuff like a job, like, you know, I've applied to jobs that I've really wanted before, like in the past, you know, I'm like, yo, this job would be amazing for me. And I apply and I feel really good about it. And I don't get a call back or email.
I'm still waiting for a call back from Best Buy. I'm trying to get that discount.
Right. And you just be like, yeah, I'm about to get this job. It's for me. And you never hear anything back. And you know, unless like you need to get rent paid or mortgage paid, like right then and there, that's not really going to affect you. And even if you do, it's not something that's going to put you in harm's way, unless you owe like some money to like the mob or something. You better do something. But you know, it's not something that, in most cases, for most people, it's not something that's world ending. So I think that's a good skill to have, you know, when you think about minor forms of rejection. So one thing, which will probably be the name of this episode, is you miss every shot you don't take.
Every shot you don't touch.
Karion is the one that actually first introduced me to this term. So because you introduced me to that term, you miss every shot you don't take.
You ain't never heard that before. Boy.
Not when you had said it to me like some years ago.
Yeah. You was out there in them streets back then. The bomb was out there chucking up everything.
Don't do that. Never me.
The bomb was like 2 for 15.
That was never me. But you want to explain that?
Basically, what do you mean by you miss every shot you don't take? So if there's an opportunity and you don't take that chance to, you know, to try out the opportunity, then you'll never grow from that experience. You know, you never know if you're able to do it or not. So like for an example, if let's say you are a well gentleman and you try to go talk to a female, you try to get her number. If there's an opportunity for you, you know, okay, you see this woman, you want to try to talk to her. The opportunity is for you to go talk to her. If you don't take the opportunity, then
you never have a chance.
Yeah, you never know what could happen. Anything could happen. Like you never know. It could work out. It might not. But you'll never know if you never take that shot. So essentially, if you don't take that shot, then you'll never get a chance. And I think taking those shots are important because for every shot you miss, you got to look at it as this is an experience for me to learn from. This is a lesson for me to learn. No, every missed shot is not a bad opportunity. It's not always failure. No, we got to start looking at things as failure and look at things as an opportunity to grow. How can I grow from this experience and how can I be better at it next time so I don't miss next time?
Yeah. And even then it's just like, you know, it kind of just left my head. Dang.
Look at you, blanking out.
Yeah, we both blanking out.
That program do it to you.
Right. They killing me. But yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. You know,
I think that's the only time you fail is when you don't try.
Yeah.
Because like, remember, Karion and I think we shared this before, but we talked about this podcast idea for a good while. And we weighed the pros and cons of starting it last year, you know. And when we finally started, we had already felt like we won because we were like, we did it. And Karion and I would come up with a lot of ideas and not follow through on most of them. So when we did this one, we were like, regardless of whoever listens, regardless of if we have 20 episodes or 200 episodes, the fact that we started, we got a name, we got a logo, we have put out content.
We got some mics. Don't forget the mics.
We got some mics.
Too much money spent.
I got the mics. It's over now. Y'all.
It's over. We were like, we won it at that point. And that's how I try to take that mentality into other areas of my life. Like, I don't fail unless I give up because, you know, I'm afraid or I just don't try at all.
There's another saying, in the loss is where the lesson is learned. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, I don't lose, baby. So I never learn. I'm great.
losing early.
Yikes.
Drinking out.
Well, I want to hear that. I won't lose. I was on pause. I kept pausing again.
And that's what I was going to say is that sometimes rejection is actually like, for example, I'm a Christian, so obviously with the cross in the background, if anyone's watching the YouTube video, but like, I believe sometimes that, you know, God wants us to strive for something and not get it in order to learn something out of it, you know? And so if me being vulnerable again, I applied to go to Vanderbilt University, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. That was my first pick. And when I got denied from them, and mind you, I thought this is what God was telling me to do. Like, I thought this was going to be the path that I was supposed to be going through. And when I got rejected by them, it made me realize that it was my ego that wanted to go and not me. Like, you know, going to a really, really good school and, you know, having that status of being at a good school, you know, that was going to fulfill my ego. And if I didn't get rejected from them, I wouldn't have been able to go on a path where I'm dying to myself, like dying to my flesh and dying to my ego, you know? So I think that it was meant for me to apply and really, really want to go to Vanderbilt, you know, and to get that rejection in order to, you know, find a higher self. If that makes sense.
What Kendrick Lamar say? Be humble.
Humbling.
It can humble you. I've had some humbling moments.
Go ahead and speak on that.
I mean, shoot. I wanted to go into the Rolodex on my mind, but
he got a whole catalog, boy.
Just because I want to, because we've been talking about, shut up. We've been talking about relationships. I wanted to think of something like outside of relationships. Like I said, I've applied to jobs. I applied to Norfolk State and they rejected me. They didn't reject me. They just never sent anything back. I took that as a form of rejection.
I mean, it is.
ODU responded. Norfolk State was just like, yeah, well, you know, you lose some, you win some. I didn't hear nothing back.
Yeah,
it is you though. I'm surprised.
You're talking about like you applied to be in the program.
I applied to go there for undergrad.
Yeah. I hate when schools don't say nothing though. I think that's just Vanderbilt sent me a rejection letter on Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day. I was like, and I was single. It was just a bad day.
They were like, we're gonna make this memorable for her.
Let's get
like very memorable.
Give us some.
Woo, boy! I just recently got rejected. What?
Whatever.
Why y'all laughing for? Rejection ain't supposed to be funny. Y'all laughing at my feelings and my emotions.
No, we're not. It's just the way you said it. Go ahead.
How did I say it? First of all, so basically, long story short, I've been chilling with this person, and eventually, I built up the courage to ask them, say, "Hey, you want to be Valentine's Day? You know, you ain't doing nothing." And they were like, "I don't know about all that. I'm not sure." I said, "Okay." I think the hardest part for me, though, I didn't even care about the rejection, to be honest. It was me expressing myself to that person. Once I finally got it out, I care less about what the response was. Like, you know, I feel so much about myself. I don't care what they say.
I'm proud of you because that's really hard, you know, to ask someone and to put your feelings out on the table.
Well, who you telling?
Absolutely. Tell them what you told me.
What I tell you?
When we had talked about it.
Oh, that was a win in my book because I was able to step out there, you know, put myself in a position to be vulnerable and express myself. So to me, the experience from that and being vulnerable, that was a win in my book.
Made you stronger.
Yeah, basically. But now I'm out here on these streets again, you know, trying to do what they do. Yeah.
And as y'all saw earlier, Ryan cannot express his feelings. So I can only imagine how it was.
Boy, I love it. I was like a 12-year-old. So hold on, let me get this out with it. I was like, do you remember that? They're like, what? I said,
notes.
Struggling, boy. I was struggling.
You won't be my Valentine's circle, yes or no?
Right.
I was like, hold on. You know how they do? I was trying to write a note, so I was trying to get a note.
Right.
Just give it to me later. You got to tell me right now.
Right.
Oh, man.
Scary. Wait, did you ask? Hold on, I'm sorry. Did you actually text or?
No, I was on the phone. I know better than that.
I'm about to say, boy.
No, I mean that's to me. Which one's worse, phone or text?
Text.
Like you waiting. Okay, yeah.
Text is worse.
Wait, to ask or to as far as
like to ask?
Oh, okay. I rather you make the effort and call. I rather in person, but if you can't do in person, phone.
Yeah. Phone call is the next best thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be in person. Text message.
You're being lazy at that point. Unless you're at work or you can't talk on the phone.
Unless you like thrillers. Then...
I feel like it's lazy and it's easy to mask emotion behind text. So like you can mask your nervousness to asking, and even on the other side, you can mask like, ugh, hell no, or you know. So.
Well, I remember one time I was dating this girl, right? And we were kind of going through it, on and off type thing. And we was texting at the time. And she texted me, do you even want to be in this relationship? I took like 5 minutes to think about it. That was the longest 5 minutes of my life. And I said, no. She was like, oh my God, you're not even going to think about it. I'm like, I sat here for 5 minutes and thought about this. It was a long time.
Yeah.
God. You were set up for that. There was no way you were going to win that. Right? If you responded too quick, you would have been messed up. And if you took the whole day, you would have been messed up too. So,
yeah.
Being quick.
Can't win.
It won't no win in that.
It was a win for me.
Yeah, rejection is just a weird thing. Everybody experiences it. Nobody wants it. And we all, I feel like another thing that we didn't talk about is this sense of entitlement that you're supposed to get everything that you want.
That's why I said earlier, everybody expect things to go their way. They forget that no is a valid response.
Right.
I think that's key, honestly.
That would help me through my situation. I knew that me asking her that she might potentially say no, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
You got to know that when you ask someone a question, they can give you any response, and no is one of those responses.
I've been messing with my supervisor. My supervisor like, Karion, can you do something for me? I'm like, no. They would just look at me like, what you mean no? I said, you asked me a question. That's a yes or no.
All right.
I gave you the no response.
So give me a command if you need, if you want me to do it. Right.
Right. It almost makes me think like we should just normalize rejection, if anything. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah. So how do you propose we do that, Raven? I think this is going to be really interesting.
I mean, like, I think what Karion said was everything. Like, just don't ask if you aren't open to a no, you know? Like, don't ask, don't apply for nothing. Don't, like, date if you aren't ready. Like, specifically dating. Don't date unless you're ready to, to go through a whole bunch of no's, you know? Even on the girl side, like, you know, a guy could be feeling you, and girls love to ghost too. So I'm not going to act like, you know, I'm a ghoster. I'm not gonna lie. But you know, guys will show a lot of. What'd you say?
Bring you back for another episode.
Right? No, for real. I'm not proud of it, but you know, a guy could be feeling you, and then one day he's just not, you know, and you have to be open to those experiences, you know. Yeah. I think that's honestly the best way that comes to my head, unless y'all have anything different.
I think that's a good way. I think just in the home.
I say we organize a march and just reject everybody throughout that march. Yes.
You're gonna stand on the stage and just start rejecting people?
Yep. They're gonna start marching behind me. No, reject it. No. I'm gonna start rejecting everybody.
Yeah, you gotta get used to it. Right. You know, like they say with everything, it starts in the home.
Yeah.
It starts in the home. So stop raising entitled brats. You are an entitled brat. Get over yourself.
That's another episode too.
These parents need to be better. Stop being trash.
Yeah.
Stop being stuck in these old ways, traditions and whatnot of raising kids and whatnot. No, get better. Let them be emotionally expressive throughout the household. No, let them share. Stop shutting them down. These kids are humans too. They have these same emotions you have as an adult.
And it's
allow them to experience rejection. Like allow them to apply for volleyball and get rejected, and then comfort them and tell them that maybe you just need to practice next time. Like normalize like finding those solutions, you know, and not going up to the coach and saying my daughter deserves to be on this volleyball like that.
Yeah, it
messes up everything. And even when, I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was a time where even if like 5-year-olds who were playing soccer, even if the team loses, they got a trophy. Like that kind of defeats the purpose of a competition.
Yeah, and it takes away like the drive that comes after not getting what you
Trust me, them participation trophies are not as good as the regular trophies. I can tell you that right now.
But I'm saying, be a little. It's okay. This might sound really brute, but it's okay to be a loser. Like to lose, you know, not a loser, but it's okay to lose.
Yeah. I agree with you 120%. I really do.
I got a participation trophy once. I ain't gonna lie.
What was it?
I played rec league basketball. We was the worst team in the league. We were like 0 and whatever. But But our parents, like, it wasn't like, you try it. It was more so our parents getting together to say, hey, y'all did y'all best throughout this 14 year, do the season or whatnot. You know, they threw us a little party when I got us a little participation trophy. So it was more sentimental at that point for us.
I think that, yeah.
Granted, I see how people are like, nah, that's still participation. Yeah. Our parents, they show how much they care for us. No, we tried our best. Even though we was the worst team, they let us know, no, y'all did all right, though. Keep trying. Don't give up.
Yeah, I think that's different. You know, like, it was at the end of the season. You know, y'all genuinely did put in work, whether y'all not as much work maybe, but y'all tried and y'all stayed throughout the whole season. And I think that should not.
I was amazing my basketball year. Not that first year. I was trash.
Oh, yeah.
I got anybody has seen the Boondocks? Karion was Riley. Just dribbling away. Just not shooting. Couldn't shoot. Just dribbling
Clearly
away.
A Devon hater. What Riley say? If you ain't got people hating on you, then you ain't doing something right.
I like that.
Anyways, I'm gonna bring us out with the redirect corner. So let me explain this a little bit to the listeners. We won't do this every episode if we feel like it's, you know, no reason for it. So last episode we didn't, but this one I felt like it was necessary. So of course, you guys know that Karion is up and coming therapist. He's providing therapy now, trying to work towards becoming licensed. So he gives his perspective from that area. And I am a certified mindfulness instructor. And
qualified
mindfulness mental health worker.
Hold on, ain't it double? Is it double what? Double certified?
I'm about to be double certified.
Look.
Certified times 2. So I give my perspective on that. So
we gotta get our up and coming student in training.
Yeah, I was going to give her too.
Okay, you trying to get back to script?
She's gonna do it too. Redirect corner for everybody. So this is for specifically for men or anyone with fragile egos. What kind of like feedback, counseling, or redirection would you provide those people with fragile egos that can't take the word no?
I want Raven to go first so she don't take my up and coming response.
I would not. We have two different perspectives.
Lady first.
I mean, so what advice would I have for someone who has a fragile ego? I mean, I don't know. I guess I think I'll have to go back to, I think a lot of it has to do with reflection. So just reflect on, your past and what Devon mentioned with compartmentalizing the different rejections and what triggers you the most, and really diving into those triggers, like, where do I think this came from? Even going to therapy and having a therapist help you figure that out. Or if you don't have that, then just really just self-healing. Maybe you have a fragile ego because your dad taught you that, because your dad was that person. Or maybe you have a power struggle. You feel like you should have power over women, and dive into what patriarchy means and what society has told you, all these different things. I feel like you should definitely reflect on that, journal, write it down, talk to people, talk to women, get their perspective, and just follow the right people on social media. A lot of, not going to mention specific famous people, but a lot of famous people reinforce the idea of power struggles and, egoic man, just all of that. So just be careful of what you consume. And I think reflection is really key to just being better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You kind of said it.
No, she did, because I got more to say.
All right, go ahead.
You, Mr. Double Certified Qualified, you can go ahead and step out.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to say for those who have fragile, as Devon said, those men, I guess, who have fragile.
Anyone.
You said men first, though. Men and anyone who has those fragile egos and feel the need to harm somebody because of rejection and things like that. You need to get to the root cause of why is your ego so fragile? Is it because of the household you grew up in where you had to be a macho man, where you didn't get to express emotion?
Sorry.
How dare you?
Come over there.
You not hear that beat? That beat told me to shut up for a second. But you grew up in this household, basically kind of toxic. You had to be a manly man, so you had to do everything the manly way. Not expressing emotions, being tough all the time. Now I want to let you know it's okay to be in tune with your feelings. You have to know what these feelings are so you can deal with them. So you need to be able to sit in them and understand why do you feel these feelings and be able to verbalize that. So You won't be out there when you get hurt and rejected. You're not out there, you know what, I'm going to take this anger and ball my fist up. No, you need to understand why you're angry, upset, and hurt. And then do something about it. Cope with that feeling. And then find a way to make it better for yourself. So when you have that feeling, you're not always angry and ready to strike back and whatnot. So basically, get in tune with your feelings. It's okay to be a man and be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I got. Okay. See, she ain't say it all.
All right. Well, I'll go with my little perspective. I won't say a little, but I learned a couple things from some of the teachers that have been involved in the course that I took. One of them is there's two wings to like mindfulness and all of that, and it's compassion and awareness. So in this aspect, I would say, of course, compassion. You should have compassion towards the people that you're talking to. So something's drawing you towards them, whether it's physical attraction or you like the way they speak or whatever. You just be nice. Like, it sounds so simple, but
essentially what you're saying, follow the golden rule.
If you want people to be nice to you, be nice.
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah, I said the same.
No,
but, you had your time to talk. It's my time. So, treat people fairly, and understand that their value isn't diminished just because they don't give you what you want. And then the awareness, and I'm making it brief because I've pretty much said everything. The awareness is understanding your emotions. It's normal to feel bad, when you have some kind of rejection. So just, allow yourself to feel that without being reactive and lashing out, and go do something else. Like, it's not really taught in our society for men to journal, but that's something that men should do.
Yeah.
And one of you guys, I think both of you guys brought that up, but journal. Or go talk to your friends, or go lift weights or something that's going to make you feel better. But just know that it's normal. There's nothing wrong with feeling rejected or feeling bad for feeling rejected or sad.
You're not the only one experiencing rejection in the world. Everybody goes through it.
Exactly.
You're not special.
So with that, again, thank you, Raven, for participating and joining us. Your perspective is always.
Thank you for having me. I love this. This is great.
Anytime anybody say, I want a female perspective, I'm going to throw this episode at them every time. Every time. You make them listen to it like 10 times.
Hope they like it.
I want to give a shout out to Joyner. He was somebody that commented on one of our social media posts, and the question was, what can we do to make the podcast better? And
by ending this episode right now,
Joyner said more Devon. So, Joyner, I respect your word and your opinion, and we've taken that into consideration.
Wow.
Karan's gonna get a word clicker. He'll have a certain amount of words he can say per episode. And that's how we're going to do it.
100
words, that's it. That's even pushing on this kid.
But you going wildly, boy. He be talking like a big man.
Every word is shade.
So thank you again, Raven.
Yes.
With that, we are finished. Redirect out.
We out of here.
All right. Peace out.